Okay. Purpose of this test is to show the effects of friction and to lead towards some sort of conclusion about stick shift. Okay, I'm going to start first of all, the voltage is 4.92 onto the Z-axis accelerometer, and the DATAC will be started at the same time as the timer so that the video will be synchronized with the data record that's being made. The idea will be to load different weights on the gamma side and also the impulse driver side, and also over on the counterweight side, and to see the response of this little pointer here, just a wire, a rigid wire, and to see what type of balance we get. And just for the record, the measurements over here are 1/2 inch each. Okay. The support slat that goes under the engine, which is also at the neutral point, is usually up here at C. Okay. But since some of the tests will be starting down at the bottom, we'll take it down here. Notice also that when I take it all the way down, it comes up from A, drifts up to a point I'll call AB. So you'll be able to see the position of the pointer, and I will describe it as either A, meaning the midsection, or AB, meaning right on the borderline between A and B, and the same as we go up. So here we go. I've already done some preliminary testing, but let me start the data record and the timer at the same time here. Okay, they started synchronized, and here we go. I already know that 5 grams of weight will take the motor all the way up. So I'm going to start with, I said 5 grams, that was 500. I'm going to start with 400. There's 200, 100, and 100. And I'll put these over on the counterweight side so that we can see the engine rise. And placing it now. Okay, so you can see it went all the way up, and you see at what speed. I better get out of the way of the camera here myself. Okay, let's do a duplicate of that one. Well, now that it's all the way up with the extra weight over on the other side, well, I know it'll stay up. Well, let's see if it'll drift back down. I'm removing the 400 grams, and we didn't see much drift there at all. So now that it's up, let's see how much it takes to take it down. Okay. I'll start with 200 grams. And we're starting from a position high F. Okay, we see 200 grams took it down to mid C. So that's what it would take to bring it down from the top. Now let's just see, because our real concern here is answering the question of why the engine does not drop back down after it has risen during a test. So I'm going to manually take it back up. And let it drift down. Okay, it's at mid F, like Frank. And we know that 200 grams will bring it down. Let's see what 100 grams does. 100 grams brings it down to middle D, which is not the starting position. Remember, the starting position is at middle C. Let's just verify this again. Take it up. Let it drift. We're at middle F. I'm adding 100 grams on the engine side. And it comes down to middle D. So we needed to come all the way back down to where we started for a normal test. And that's going to be more than 200 grams. And put it right here. Okay, I said 200, but that's why I'm doing the video, so I can get this correct. That was 100 grams on there. So let's double check this once again. Taking it up, letting it drift. I'm adding 100 grams. It drifts down to middle D. Okay. I don't want to just add weight at this point. I want to add weight up at the top point because we want to see how much force it would take to bring it down. So I'm going to use my 100 and I'm going to try 20 grams more. The engine goes up during the test. It can drift down on its own. And I'm adding 120 grams. And it comes down a little more, but still in the D section there. Okay. Let's make it 30 grams. That's adding 20 and 10 to the 100, so it's 130 grams. Engine's all the way up. Drifts down to middle F. And we're adding 130 grams. Okay, down near lower D, but not back down to C. Okay. We'll take it to 140 grams. Taking out the 10. Putting in 20. Total is 140 grams. Engine comes all the way up on its own during a test. Drifts back down to middle F. And to get it to go all the way down again, we'd need 140 grams. Okay, it's still at lower D. Let's try that again. Starting at middle F, adding 140 grams. We're at CD, so we're going to need a little more. I'm going to add 10 more grams, which I think ought to do it. That's the minimum weight that I have in my set of weights. 150 grams being loaded. Engine all the way up. to the drift. It's at middle F, adding 150 grams. And it's at upper C. Let's try that again. Middle F, adding 150, and it's at the border between C and D. So it's still not all the way back down. And what do I have here that I could use? Okay, there's a 50. So we're going to take it to 160 grams. Here's 100, 150, plus 10. $160 grams. Engine up. Down at middle F. Loading 160. And it's still a little high there. It's at the border between C and D. Okay. Try that again. All the way up. Middle F. Upper C. Okay. That's at 160 grams. $170. Just for the record, we're at 9 minutes and 30, as you can see on the timer. Take it up, drift down to F, middle of F, 170 grams being loaded. Okay, we can say we're back to our starting point. So let's do this again. Now when I say the starting point, that's the starting point. It's really the neutral balance point that was determined in another video, which will be compiled with this video so that you know what I'm saying. When the engine was out of the test stand, just hanging with the counterweight, the balancing point was middle C, and you'll see that when the video has been edited. So what we're doing now is taking it up to the place where it would stop at once the test is finished. Let's switch it off, and we're wondering why doesn't it drop down. It doesn't drop down because it needs 100 and let's make sure I got this right. 50, 60, 70. 170 grams to get back down to middle C. There we are. Okay, that's the point I was trying to make here. Let's look at coming up. We know what it takes to go from the top back down to the neutral point. What does it take to get from the neutral point up to the top? Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that when the engine is running, it's an impulse that it's giving. So what we just experimented with as far as what force does it take for it to return to this neutral position, it was an impulse, of course, when I loaded it, but it was a continuous load on it, bringing it down. What we're about to do now, it's not going to be a continuous load when the engine is actually working. It's going to be pulsing. I'm going to put a continuous load over on the counterweight side. And just as a starting point, let's see if it's the same as what we just experimented with. So that'll be 100, and 50, 60, 70, and put another 10 in there. 180 on the counterweight side. I'm not sure if I did 170 or 180. I'll just start with 180. So we're at the neutral position, or at least, yeah, that'll be right about there. And I'm adding 180 grams to the counterweight. Loading it now. Okay, we didn't get much action at all, did we? But that's why I'm running this test. This is what we want to see. So 180 does not do it for us. Let's get back to neutral, which is middle C. And 200 grams. I'm going to try 300 grams. Just a guess. 300 grams from neutral position. Loading 300 grams on the counterweight side. Loading now. That does it. Okay. So we're up. And came up pretty fast. Let's do that again. Starting at middle C. Loading with 300 grams. Now. Okay. Let's back that down. Make it 290. So 250. 270, 280, let's try 280. Make sure I got this right. $200 plus 50 plus 20 twice. So that's 290. Okay, we're starting at middle C. Loading 290 on the counterweight side. Now. That just barely got us there. 290. Do it again. Starting at middle C and adding 290 now. That's just high F, which is one of the normal high points that we've seen before. There's a new pulley arrangement up on top that will be edited into this video, and so the top range where the engine goes may be different than previous tests. One more time here with the 290 on the counterweight side. Now, okay. I think the rapidity of the test that I'm running is changing the friction, so we get slightly different results. Okay. So basically that's what I wanted to show, and hopefully that explains, or at least demonstrates, how the engine does not drift back down. I would argue that it doesn't drift up either. But you can see it stays at this position, it stays at the E position, stays at the D position, stays at the C position. B maybe tries to rise up. From A, it definitely rises up to low B. Okay. I'll put the slat in now to verify the neutral position, which is the same position it was at when the engine was out of the test stand and balanced with the counterweight. Okay, in case you don't know, what I've put in place is a slat that goes under the engine. That's to keep the engine from always sitting down on the strain gauge scale that's at the bottom of the test stand. So when the engine's down onto the slat, we're right here at low C. And when we're at the top position, we're at low G, which drifts back to middle F on its own. You notice we don't rise up from low C very much. And when the slat is not there, you should have seen that if I come all the way down to A, it does rise up. So it's different modes of testing. With the counterweight test, we're here. Okay, we're starting here. And even without the slat, this is where we would be starting. In some of the previous counterweight tests, I have started all the way down at A. So it's something to notice when we're reviewing videos of previous tests. When the slat is removed, that's typically when we're doing a non-counterweight test, which means the counterweight, the chains are actually removed, and the engine sits down on the load cell, and we're measuring the weight of the engine during the test. Two different types of testing. So I think that's about it for right now, and I'll terminate the test. Stopping the DATAC. Stopping the DATAC at exactly 22:30 approximately. That was 22:28. And bye-bye.